Hi guys, my name is Gaurav. I am CEO at i.net. A quick background about me, I've been in the industry for the last 20 years. I've worked in few startups. I've worked in big organizations like Amazon, eBay, Booking.com. And in past 10 years, I've been in leadership position in Booking.com and Binance. So in past 10 years, I can roughly say I know how to make big platforms. So in the recent tenure of mine, I basically built a platform for more than 200 million active users. And during that building phase, we realized how critical is AI and how vulnerable new developers are to the centralization which is happening over the AI. Right? So we built this platform known as IONET, which is the biggest decentralized platform. And the ethos was to basically give power back to the builders. And in the next 10 to 15 minutes, I'll basically tell you why we fundamentally believe that the future of AI will not be centralized. And we'll show you with data and we'll show you with examples where the industry is headed. So we follow the research rather than the industry. And the reason is majority of the times, the production product is basically being built 5 years back in the research papers. Today you see ChatGPT from last 3 years, but we've been following the LLM papers from last 8 years. And you can see the numbers. The number of LLM papers have increased from 42 to 28,400 in last 7 years. And after 5 years of development, we basically saw products like ChatGPT coming in. This is what you see in the LLM roadmaps in the software side of things, right? But there's one particular aspect if you are not somebody who's putting in the company money in buying this compute, you will not know. And that is that the rate at which the adoption of AI is happening and the rate at which the compute, the GPU, which is the fundamental hardware needed to train your model, that demand and supply is not matching. The production of GPUs is 2.5 times slower than the adoption of AI. And this particular gap is just increasing quarter by quarter. And the reason is fast adoption, the lack of supply chain, the lack of talent, and only the handful number of companies which know how to build the GPUs. And today, even if there are 3 to 4 companies which know how to build GPUs, there's only one company whose hardware is in demand, which is NVIDIA. And this particular gap we have seen from past 1 year is just increasing. In terms of money, why the centralization is happening? Because we've all seen it. People have built billion-dollar businesses in the CPU side of things, and the SaaS business was 20 times bigger. And we are seeing the same thing happening in the GPU business also. It's a billion-dollar business, and the SaaS business on top of GPUs is almost a $1 trillion business in next 10 years. So the money is way too big. So we've actually said these things, what's the problem, where do we stand, right? But there's one fallacy which is still there in the market. And the fallacy is that the newer, stronger models which are coming in the market, like DeepSeek, Kimi K2s, they're so cheap, the inferencing cost has gone so down that this particular market is going to the bottom. And it'll basically kill the GPU demand in the coming years. And I'm here to tell you, this is exactly the opposite. This is exactly what we needed as an industry to have a hockey stick growth. And we all have lived through this already in last 10 years. The mobile phones you have in your pocket is basically 10 to 15 times stronger than the desktop which I had in my college days. People write more optimized code today than what they used to do 20 years back. But yet the demand of CPUs have 100x in the last 15 years. And the reason for that is that in our business, in a software business, whenever the cost of experimentation goes down, people don't do less experimentation. With the same amount of money, they do more experimentation. And out of those more experimentation, more successful businesses are built. And those businesses need more compute. We have seen this already in CPUs, and we're exactly living the same history in the GPU market. But there's a central and a fundamental problem in this, which is, let's take an example. Let's say you're a builder, and you're a blessed builder, which is you have big funding, you have a great team, you have an idea what to build, and you just want to start and execute. When you'll do that, more often than you'll realize that even if you have the money, The hardware which you want to compete in the most technological area today, which is AI, you will not get that hardware. You're always sitting in the queue behind these big centralized players to get the hardware which you want to compete. Let's say even if you get it, you'll always get it 6 to 8 months later what you would have asked. So basically you're competing in the most technological area, you're competing with the lower grade hardware, and you're always getting it later than the centralized players which have all the money and all the talent. You're basically being set up for a failure right from day one. And the funny thing is, if anybody has worked in these bigger companies, they will tell you that there's a discounting of around 60 to 70%, which these big centralized companies give to bigger players. But these discounts are never given to startups and builders who need these discounts the most. So here we came with the concept of a deepen. So I've been part of Booking.com and I know how to create a network. Network similar to what Booking.com has done, Airbnb has done, and Uber has done. It's not a very novel idea. This is something which has been done in Web2 markets multiple times. What is that? So imagine you go to an event. Let's say you come to an event here in Token, Singapore, right? You try to book a hotel. Now you go to Marriott. Let's imagine it's a very popular event. All the rooms in Marriott are basically booked. You go to Hyatt. All the rooms are booked. Suddenly when you go to the third chain, whatever money they ask, you have to pay. Why? Because they have a brand name and you have an idea in mind that the availability of hotels is scarce. That's exactly what used to happen historically in hotel business. There were only a handful number of chains which were popular. There were no aggregator platforms like a Booking.com or a Airbnb. So these chains used to charge anything they want. And that's exactly what's happening in GPU. And the CPU also at some level. You guys are so used to going to these big centralized players that they can charge any amount of money they want, right? But the reality is there are enough tier 2, tier 3 data centers which have the same quality of hardware, same uptime. There are a lot of software companies which have hundreds of millions of dollars worth of hardware. They've created their models and now their GPU is just lying there free. What we are doing as a company is we're taking these data centers, these software companies and the users, the gamers who have very strong hardwares, aggregating them as a platform and giving back to the consumers. What's the benefit out of it? There are two. The first and foremost is today we are going in the direction in AI where the closer the GPU is to your logic, to your model, the better it is for the user as an experience and for the business. If you'll go to Amazon today, you will only find the GPUs in 27 zones. We have our GPUs in more than 138 countries. You name the city you want a GPU in, more often than not, you'll find that GPU from our side there. I told you earlier that even if you have money as a builder, you still have to wait for months to get the GPU which you want. In our side, if you want a GPU, you get it in 2 minutes. No waiting time. And in our business, time lost is opportunity lost, business lost. So this is very critical. Third, the cost. I told you these centralized players give 60 to 70% discounts. So business model wise, it is possible to give these discounts, but they don't give it to the builders. What we are doing is, with the help of tokenomics and finding the best supply and cheapest supply in the world, we give those 70% discount back to you guys, the builders. And why the 70% is like so critical? Let's talk in terms of numbers, then you can relate to it. Let's imagine you're a very gifted builder again and you got $20 million funding. You will be surprised to know in an AI company, more than 50% of the funding goes back to these hardware, the GPUs. Now imagine if out of $20 million, you're just spending $10 million in the hardware and you can save $7 million out of the 10 million. How many engineers you can hire? How many data scientists you can hire? How long a runway you can have as a company? This is exactly what we need as builders of today. Our hardware is SOC compliant. So basically you can build any product you want and it will be totally compliant in any part of the world. And we're just scaling vertically up and down both sides. So we have an intelligence platform now where you can have inferencing product, training as a product. And the proof of the pudding is in just last 8 months, we have built a business which is earning more than $20 million worth of ARR revenue already. We were just a 1.5-year-old project, And we started focusing on the business side of things in just last 7, 8 months. So in 8 months with this particular tech, we are able to build exponential growth in the revenue from less than $1 million to 20 plus million in just 6 months period. These are a few numbers. For the sake of time, I'll move ahead. We are a tech company first. Our success belongs to the builders which are coming from these respective companies. We are very proud to say that there are few companies in the world where you'll see, especially in Web3 side, people who are very good in tokenomics. You'll find some teams who are extremely good in building platforms, right? Some teams who have created business. There are very rarely you'll find companies in Web3 side who are a good mix of people who know crypto, tokenomics, who know how to build the platforms, and who know how to build businesses using the other two. And we are lucky that we have a team which is good in all three. We have people from Google, Meta, Intel, Binance, a good mix to build a business backed by Web3. Our whole motto is that we make it easy for anyone, anywhere, to access the tool to develop AI through reliable and affordable platforms. As I say it all the time in an event like this, and I fundamentally believe in it, that when Satoshi was creating Bitcoin, a lot of people think it's about money. It wasn't. It was about a concept, an ethos. And that ethos was that the power which resides in the hands of a selected few should be given back to the masses. And today, we are at the same juncture. But today, it's about AI. If today we don't own our intelligence, we will not own our future. We have to, we must, and we have to decentralize AI and own our future. Thank you.